So without further ado, I think we should start sort of chronologically. Unless anyone else has any further objections, like we should start Canelo, Ryder, because that's the farthest way back.
Ago,
yeah,
take our way back.
Canelo Alvarez beat John Ryder via, I believe, is what unanimous decision, right? There's nothing controversial about it. Where is it? Yes, UD. 118 scorecards, and then a 120 scorecard. I mean, the only like big takeaway I have, which is kind of the title of the show, was like, this wasn't a bad fight. It wasn't like Canelo got hit a lot, so to speak. We kind of did. This was a opponent that Canelo 4 or 5 years ago would have finished.
Yes.
And he didn't. And it seems like now we have the Bivol fight, which he looked really bad in. The Triple G fight, which Triple G looked horrendous in, but Canelo didn't capitalize. The Canelo of the second fight would have knocked him out,
right?
In my viewpoint and the way I look at it. So are we now getting to a Canelo that's 32 years old? He has 62 professional fights.
I thought you were going to say he has 62 children. I was like, he has 3, but whoa,
that's a lot.
Slow down. 62 professional fights. Keep going. Sorry.
Are we getting to a point where now Canelo is past his prime, so to speak? You know, not that he's faded or he's old all of a sudden, but he's now looking older. He's now looking past his prime, so to speak. This is not a vintage prime Canelo anymore. I don't know if any of you guys have any thoughts, Melody. I mean, Canelo is a guy that we really like. You got a tattoo of his sort of slogan on you as well. I mean, are you of the same mindset that a Canelo 5 years ago would have?
Oh yeah, smoked these fools.
Yeah,
but I mean, it just looked like he was fighting demons in that ring. Like he was fighting his own self, you know, like the darker version of himself. He was fighting.
Like you're saying that,
though it was lighter.
Are we saying that
haired version of himself? He was fighting himself.
No, I'm gonna take it serious, even though that was a funny joke.
Okay.
We have seen Canelo partying more.
Yeah.
Like publicly partying, and not that he's never been a partier. I've always heard rumors he's always been one, but we've seen a lot of videos in the last 3 years of him being very intoxicated.
Yes.
You know, partying with big time celebrities, soccer players and such.
Yeah, he likes to throw down, bro.
Are we just now at a different Canelo that wasn't 2018, 2019 version of Canelo?
Are we ever going to get a Canelo that's going to knock somebody out in the next 5 years, you think?
I mean,
are we done with the knockouts?
I don't know. Gary?
Well, look, when I say LeBron James is past his prime, I'm not saying he's trash or he's garbage. He's just clearly past his prime. If I say Chris Paul is past his prime, you may say he's trash. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's not as good as he once was, and that's evidently true, right? But when I say that about Canelo, like so many Canelo fanboys on a boxing Twitter sphere and in the boxing community get so triggered. Like I said, he's trash or garbage. I'm not. He's past his prime. Matt is right. I was interested in what Matt was going to say because Matt's a Canelo standboy, right? And Matt's right. He's not. I'm not. He still beats most 168 pounders, and he still beats, I think, probably every 160 pounder. If he could do, I probably can't do that anymore, right? So I'm not saying he's trash. I'm not saying he's garbage. I'm saying he's not as good as he was a couple years ago. Yeah, Canelo from 3, 4, 5 years ago, the one that was in his peak, that was knocked out Kovalev, beat Jacobs, beat Triple G, right? That guy would have stopped right in that 5th round. You know, the one that destroyed Rocky Felding would have destroyed John Ryder. Now, he won, and he won almost every round. I think I had it 10-2, right? Or 11-1. Like, I had a round or two for Ryder. But, I mean, it was basically Canelo won every round. And that's a decent, top 15 middleweight, super middleweight, right? It's not a cab driver. And Canelo took care of business. Like, I think Benavidez could beat him, and I think Morrell could beat him. Anyone else at 60 or 68, I think he beats. Right? I mean, so I'm not saying he's trash or he's a bum. He's still very, very good. And maybe he could beat Benavidez, right? Benavidez has a lot of flaws that we could get into from a technical standpoint that maybe someone with a ring IQ like Canelo could capitalize on. But yeah, no, the best of Canelo, sorry. He's he's not that old, but it's more than 62 fights, man. Like, that's a lot of fights, right? And the reason why fighters fight later in years than they used to is because they fight less, right? Errol Spence is 32. He's had like 28 fights. Same age as Canelo, almost to the day, right? A couple months apart. He's had 28 fights. Canelo's had 62. You see the difference? You know what I'm saying? Like, so yes, Canelo is still very good, just like LeBron James is still very good, but he's not as good as he was a few years ago. And there's no crime in that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's also a couple of things I think about when it comes to Canelo. One, the whole age and wear and tear. You know, he's been fighting 12-round fights since, 18, 19 years old?
Pobrecito.
You know, when, like you were talking about with Earl Spence, those are guys that didn't start fighting 3 or 4 round pro fights till 18, 19 years old. You know, they were fighting 3-round amateur fights, which is very, very different. The intensity is different. You know, love amateur fights, but a 3-round amateur fight is different than a 12-round, 8-round, 10-round professional fight. And Canelo's been doing that for 20 plus, for 15 years at least?
I want to, yeah. So the kind of Canelo coming out party was when he fought Cotto's brother on the undercard of Mayweather Mosley. That was 14 years ago, 13 years. It's 2009, 2010. It's 13, 14 years ago. That was a long time ago. He was fighting good opponents, 10-round fights, 12-round fights. He's been fighting those for a long time, right? Like, that takes wear and tear on your body. And he's never took 2 years off like Mikey did or Spence did or Floyd did, right? He's never had that long gap. He had a 6-month suspension when he ate the carne asada, right? But there's never been an 18, 20-month layoff.
Allegedly ate the
Allegedly. He didn't fight once a year like Crawford does, right? He's constantly in the ring. He's constantly fighting. And like he's at 62, you said? 62 pro fights?
So many.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Like he's still very good. I'm not saying he can't beat Bivol. He might be able to beat Bivol.
No.
I'm not this Bivol. Like Bivol's very good. He's not unbeatable.
No,
don't do it.
I was on a friend of the show, a good friend of mine as well, JP from Long Beach, who's now living in Las Vegas. He started his own boxing podcast, Heavy Hands Podcast, on YouTube. Shout out to it.
Good name. Yeah.
Yeah, great name. I jumped on the show maybe like a day or two before the Canelo fight. And I was adamant on that show that Canelo should fight Bivol next and that he can win. Not that he will win, but that he can beat Bivol. No, that was before that was before this fight.
Oh.
After this fight, I'm thinking
how he did with Ryder.
I'm thinking he should not fight Bivol.
No.
And he can't win that fight.
No, we're not going to.
I think Bivol is too big, too strong, too fast. His boxing IQ is too decent. He has enough pop. He has enough speed and athleticism. Like, I think no. I'll be honest. I'm of the opinion now because I've always been a little bit of a David Benavidez fan, but I picked Benavidez.
Oh yeah,
against Canelo.
Me too.
And I might even pick Jamal Charlo against this version of Canelo.
No, what way?
Now you OD'd.
I'll just be honest. Like,
that's a little silly.
Matt, that's my boy. He's on the wall. There was a time when I picked Charlo to beat Canelo. I said Charlo will be the guy to beat Canelo, right? Charlo hasn't fought in 2 years. And the best win he has on his regimen at over 154 is Derevyanchenko. Like, he's not.
Don't hate on Derevyanchenko, okay?
Derevyanchenko's Derevyanchenko, man.
Like Triple G.
He did.
So let's not disparage fucking Derevyanchenko here, guys. Okay. No, I'll just be honest. This version of Canelo, like, where was his head movement? Where was that defensive elusiveness we saw in the Triple G fights? We saw in the Jacobs fight. We saw in other fights. That was nowhere to be seen here. Canelo used to be a guy that could walk you down and then dodge every shot, get off the center line, and then beat you to the body and beat you with hooks. Now he's just a guy that just walks in with his head on the center line and is looking for just, I don't know.
He's not necessarily looking for knockouts. He's not. But he's more.
He's not setting up his shots either.
He's coasting.
Yeah,
he's totally on coasting. That's what.
Maybe it's due to the opponent, but this is also again a guy that a Canelo that's coasting would still finish, a la Liam Smith, a la other guys that he has beat. This is a guy that he should have knocked out. To be quite honest,
I thought so.
He knocked out Sergey Kovalev. He should have knocked out John Ryder.
Yeah.
Do you think Canelo could beat David Morrell?
Don't put me on the spot against a Cuban fighter like that, okay?
I don't think anyone at 168 can beat David Morrell.
Dude,
I think David Morrell's the best 168 in the world. He just has to prove it.
I think David Morrell is like.
Did he just wake up and just fucking? David Morrell showed the fuck up.
He's the dark horse of the division.
I've been saying this for a while. He's the best 168 in the world.
He passes every eye test, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He just needs that name, that sort of guy, and it's hard. You know, like if this was 5-6 years ago, like one of the Durrell brothers would fit perfectly. You know, for like that step up for him, but that doesn't.
Porky Medina.
Porky Medina? No, come on. Again, 6-7 years ago?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Why not? But now the division's so bare.
I don't mean to be disrespectful, but can Triple G be that name? I'm not trying to be. I know Triple G. People love Triple G. They hold him in high regard. I don't as much as other people. But can he be that name?
I mean, could David Morrell beat Triple G? Yes, I picked David Morrell to beat Triple G.
Yes.
Would that be significant enough to like catapult him to fight a Canelo or other names? It would put him in the conversation with fans.
Yes, fans, because people probably don't know him past his last fight, unlike real people.
No, I still think like the hardest of hardcores know David Morrell. Like people that watch boxing every fucking weekend know David Morrell.
Yes,
that's like us three and like 10 other people.
Yeah, if you call up your local sports radio show, whatever you guys got in LA, right, and you call up the guys that talk about, Rams football, Lakers basketball, Trojan football, you say, hey, what do you think about David Morrell? They're gonna look at you like, I don't know what. Yeah, is he on the Dodgers or the Angels? What are you talking about?